and welcome
to My Favorite Murder.
That's Georgia Hardstark.
That's Karen Kilgariff.
And this is a solo episode.
It's a solo episode, just me, because we're still on tour as of this recording.
In recording world,
we're going to New York this week for our last live show.
That's right. Brooklyn, King's Theater, wrapping it up, saying goodbye.
I can't. It's going to be crazy and so sad. That last episode, I'm going to cry. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Solo. I have a book real quick. I've just been waiting to tell you about this book because I'm so obsessed with it.
Great.
And I listened to it through the tour and I cried. So it's a memoir called A Mother's Reckoning by Sue Klebold.
Dylan Klebold's mother.
Yes.
Wow.
It is the most powerful, intense, beautiful memoir I've ever listened to. It is so powerful. She talks about grief and shame, loss, and a lot about mental illness and how we treat it here in the U.S. and what can be done to change things and, you know, what she knew and what she didn't know and what she wishes she had known. I was just in awe of this book.
Wow.
Yeah. So A Mother's Reckoning, I feel like every parent of a teenager needs to read this because it's also about being a teenager and hiding stuff from your parents. There's just shit that we hide. And I think knowing those signs and knowing and being able to recognize the little tells that they do give is so important for parents. And she really hits on that.
Yeah.
And takes responsibility for not knowing what to look for because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And as a parent, that's the weight that I'm sure is on her.
Yeah.
It's just horrible, that idea of having to take responsibility for a thing that, you know, if you're the mother, you're going to get blamed first anyway.
Absolutely. And it was like the 90s, so it was just toxic. And she talks about all of that, and it's just incredible. So A Mother's Reckoning by Sue Klebold. I highly recommend it.
Let's go. It's solo story time.
Right. So we don't go too into it. Should we do a quick Exactly Right Media check-in?
Let's do it.
Hey, we have a podcast network called Exactly Right Media. Here are some highlights.
Our brand new limited series, Hell in Heaven, the finale is now out. This series has been doing incredibly well. It's a Blanchard House production. They're the best in the biz. In today's last episode, Anne contemplates leaving Costa Rica for good. A drug bust changes everything, and those closest to the Bender family reckon with the mystery that refuses to die. It's an unbelievable series if you haven't heard it yet.
And if you're making your list and checking it twice, we've got good news. Our holiday merch is now live in the merch store. This is some good shit, you guys. It's exciting every year to pick the stuff. I think this might be the best year. Visit exactlyrightstore.com for all the new items from your favorite shows, and be sure to order by Sunday, December 14th to guarantee holiday delivery.
And while you're out there just doing our bidding, why don't you go over to YouTube and hit like and subscribe on all of our channels on YouTube at my_favorite_murder and also over at Exactly Right Media. And please go support our newest always on legal podcast at Brief Recess. It is going to be a hit. We talked to Melissa and Michael on this show. It was so much fun.
I love it.
Go support those guys, please.
So good. All right.
Solo.
Okay, this is a real one. And it was suggested by a murderino who emailed in April of 2023. I'm just going to read you a little bit of it. It says, "Hi, when I was about 9 years old, I was being nosy, digging through random stuff at my dad's house and found a scrapbook full of old newspaper clippings. I asked Dad about it, and he proceeded to blow my tiny little mind by dropping the bomb that his uncle murdered a bunch of people in the 1940s and was executed by electric chair." It goes on and on. "I have photos of the chair where he was executed and his death mask that are kept at a state museum and would be happy to email them in."
That's okay.
We're good.
That's all right.
Thanks for getting me through my commute to work every day, Abby. So Abby suggested this, and I'd never heard of it.
Wow. A family murderer. That's
just
crazy.
It's disappointing when you haven't heard of a serial killer because it just means there's so fucking many of them.
There's so many.
This is a story of highway killer James Waybern Hall. The main source for the story is a book called The Arkansas Hitchhike Killer by Janie Nesbitt Jones, and the rest of the sources can be found in the show notes. Okay, so on January 17th, 1945, the body of a man named C.F. Hamilton is found on a road in Arkansas. Hamilton is a barber and also a bootlegger. Though prohibition has long been over, there are plenty of liquor stores. As we know, bootleggers still do good business in the area.
Yeah.
You know?
Get it driving around real fast in those souped up cars.
That's right. That homemade liquor.
And homemade NASCAR. That's how NASCAR began.
Oh, yeah. So C.F. Hamilton has been shot with a .45 caliber bullet, and the scene looks like a robbery. Hamilton is Black, and this is Arkansas in 1945. So the police officers basically don't investigate the crime much. And unfortunately, this also means that we know less about him and his life than we know about some of the other victims who are discovered shortly after.
Who are white. Yeah.
About 2 weeks later, on February 1st, another body is found. A deputy sheriff is driving along a road about 80 miles south of Little Rock when he sees an abandoned car at the turnoff for a dirt road, and it's still there, and he makes his return trip about 90 minutes later, so he pulls over to inspect the car. The glove compartment looks like it's been rifled through, and the papers are strewn on the passenger seat. The deputy sheriff then looks at the dirt road and sees 2 sets of footprints going into the woods and only 1 set returning.
Wow.
He follows the footprints and after a short walk finds the body of a man who has been shot. This man is identified by police as E.C. Adams. He has been shot with a .38 caliber bullet. Adams had been on his way to a new job and a new home at a naval plant where his wife and newborn daughter were supposed to join him later. After speaking to his wife, police believe he was killed by a highwayman or a robber who steals from travelers. She gives him a long list of the items he had with him, including razors, a shaving mug, a watch, and 2 alarm clocks because he was moving. And these items are all missing from the car when they inspect it. Captain Earl Scrogan... I am an adult
breathe through.
woman. I'm an adult. It's spelled like you can't help it.
Just say it.
No. Captain Earl Scrogan of the newly formed Arkansas State Police believes the same highwayman, probably hitchhiking, may have killed both Adams and Hamilton, even though they were shot with different guns. They backtrack Adams' route to Little Rock, where they believe he picked up the hitchhiker, and they alert Little Rock police. About a week later, on February 9th, a meat truck driver named Doyle Mulherin leaves on his typical route but doesn't make it to any of his stops, and it's very out of character of him. So people begin searching for him immediately, and a grocer, who's also the mayor of the town of Stuttgart, Arkansas, finds his truck at the edge of town. The next day, 2 fishermen... Were you going to say something?
Just that the grocer would know that the meat guy didn't show up.
Totally.
And be like, that's very not like him and what's happening. Like the first person.
I bet Little Rock's a tiny town now. But back then, in 45, it was probably just like everyone knew everyone.
Right. And this is outside of Little Rock, right? So that was probably the big town.
Totally.
I mean, yeah. God, that's sad.
Yeah. The next day, 2 fishermen find Doyle's body about 25 feet away from the highway. The state police determined that he's also been shot with a .38 caliber bullet, and the money from all of his collections that day is missing. While retracing his steps, the state police speak to another driver whose route is the reverse of Doyle's. What do you say, route or route?
I think, well, it's like Route 66 in the song, but then if I was reading it, I think I'd say route.
Yeah, same. The 2 men usually wave when they pass each other in their trucks, but this driver says that on the day Doyle died, he didn't wave at him and seemed distracted, and that he had a passenger with him. Mm-hmm. The passenger was a young man with wavy red hair. Can you imagine the state you're in? You're driving past, you're trying to signal to the guy that you always wave to, that you know that something is wrong, so you don't wave.
Like, it's the absence of the normal thing that's going to hopefully let that guy know.
Totally. And like make him pay more attention so he can give information.
It's so upsetting, and also just that idea of like there a gun in his ribs. I mean, like
absolutely.
There's so many of those stories that we've heard over the years of like a girl in a car with someone trying to get the cops' attention or whatever.
Well, that's why I love this, that there's the hand gesture that you can do now that we all know and all should know, where you just kind of hold up 4 fingers with your thumb on the inside of your palm.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oof.
In early March, a man named J.D. Newcomb Jr. is reported missing. He's the state's chief boiler inspector for the Department of Labor. I know. I don't even.
I mean, boilers were a big deal back then.
They needed to be inspected a lot.
And they needed people to be at certain levels of boiler inspection.
Sure.
Because you had to be able to come and be like, this one is about to blow.
I can tell something's wrong with it.
So he was the chief.
He was the guy. And it was a prominent position,
Yeah.
it says. So Newcomb had been on his way back to Little Rock when he disappeared. And he was known to offer rides to hitchhikers. So fucking ominous, right? Because like, we always think of like hitchhiking as being so dangerous.
Yeah, but this is like the mid 40s.
Yeah.
So it's like after the Depression, people being used to people just, hey, look, I'm just trying to get from one place to the other.
Yeah.
I mean, like doing a favor for your fellow man
Right.
was probably the thinking.
Totally. On March 8th, a badly burned body is found in the back of a burned Oldsmobile, which matches Newcomb's car. The car is found in a clearing, and from the way the blood is sprayed backward, it looks like it was driven quickly before crashing. Dental records determine that the body is Newcomb's, and police find that his wristwatch is missing, as is his blue-gray overcoat. The police ask the public for tips. A bus driver reports picking up a young man near where the car was found, and the driver says that the man was wearing an ill-fitting blue-gray coat. The driver can't remember where the man got off, but that his bus was headed to Little Rock. On March 16th, a woman calls the state police and tells them a man she knows had loaned his car back in February to a friend who had business with a bootlegger outside of Little Rock. The car's owner kept a .45 caliber pistol in the car, and when the car was returned, 2 rounds were missing from it. Remember the guy in the beginning of the story was a bootlegger? The man who owned the car had heard about the murder of C.J. Hamilton, the black man who was a barber, and fearful that he would be implicated, sold the gun.
Oh.
Didn't call it in, sold it. So this woman calls it in, thankfully, and is like,
Yeah.
hey.
Hey, missing piece here.
Yeah, I don't want this guy to get away with it. The woman says that the person who borrowed the car is a cab driver named James Waybern Hall. The state police bring this information to the Little Rock police, who take James in for questioning. James has wavy red hair, like the person that was spotted in the truck. When police search James' wallet, they find a receipt from a parcel service. The parcel service had delivered a package to Little Rock from Camden, Arkansas, near where Adams, the man with the new Navy job, had been found. Police go to the address from the parcel receipt, which belongs to a woman named Corinne Franklin. Franklin admits that she's a friend of James, and she produces the contents of that parcel that had been sent. Razors, a shaving mug, and an alarm clock. So it looks like James had mailed himself through this woman stolen items from Adam's car.
So basically making federal witnesses out of the Postal Service.
Right.
Basically.
And
like,
this woman whose name and address are on it.
Yeah. We're just like, here's my things.
Yeah.
And the government's now involved because it's
so
the
are
post
you.
office.
Yeah. Oh my God. Surprise.
Surprise.
Federal fucking.
Poor man's trademark. You just trademarked your murder, like, cash, basically.
Yeah. You
Was
just
it
proved that it was yours.
kind of?
Put your name on it.
Yeah. I took these. Don't
Yeah.
give them to anybody else.
Yeah.
Just one alarm clock, not both?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he liked to sell items.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I thought he kept 2 because whoever originally had them like needed to wake up.
Oh.
You know, remember before
Yeah.
before you could snooze your alarm?
Yeah, you'd have to put one like in the hallway because otherwise you would not get up.
Drunks.
Remember when those alarm clocks came out that jumped off? They had wheels and they'd jump off your dresser and like roll around the house. You'd like chase it to wake
So you
up.
couldn't snooze it?
So you couldn't snooze it and you had to chase it to turn it off.
We need the commercial for that.
Brilliant, right?
Yes.
And there was one that was like a boggle machine, like a puzzle that you had to put back together. So
To be able to snooze it?
Yes.
Incredible. There was a real oversleeping problem in the 80s, 90s, it sounds like.
Yes. So police also searched James's room at a boarding house where he's been living for the last few months. Oh, man, boarding houses just like give me the creeps.
It's, a lot of back then, especially
Old-timey, yeah.
transient, hey, do you not want anyone to know your name?
Yeah.
Is your last name Smith for some reason?
Yeah, did you just get off a boxcar?
Yeah.
Come here.
What's that? Blood on your neck? A small, fine mist of blood on your cheek?
And at this place, they find J.D. Newcomb's missing watch and a blue-gray overcoat that matches the description of the one he had been missing. They also find a box of .38 caliber bullets and a .38 caliber pistol. It turns out that the Little Rock police had just arrested James a few weeks prior for assault when he badly injured another man in a fight. And they also tell their colleagues at the Arkansas State Police that they had questioned James 6 months earlier about the disappearance of his own wife. When the police go back to James with the evidence from the package and from his room in the boarding house, he says, quote, "Okay, I'll tell you all about it. I killed them all."
Oh, my God.
Straight up Jinx style.
I killed them all.
I killed them all.
That's if you were the cop he was talking to or whoever it was, that's feeling in your stomach. What do you mean all?
All, yeah. Also, he's 24 years old at this time.
Oof.
That's like a child.
A child with probably like kind of evil eyes.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, okay, let me tell you about him. James Waybern Hall is born in 1921 in Happy Valley, Arkansas. He's the fourth of 11 children, though one dies in infancy. And from childhood on, James is nicknamed Red because of his red hair.
You know, every man in my dad's family is nicknamed
Red.
Right. They all call each other that.
I always forget your dad has red hair because I've never seen him with red hair.
Not since the late 80s, yeah.
So his father, Samuel Hall, is a farmer and also a preacher in the local church. And as we've heard time and time again, James's childhood contains two of the common threads we wind up seeing in the childhood of serial killers: abuse and head trauma. From the outside, the Halls appear to have a pretty idyllic life. The children are looked after by a caring grandmother. James, his siblings, and his cousins roam the outdoors together most days. But behind closed doors, James's father, Samuel, is abusive, and he focuses most of his anger on James. In his early teens, James starts leaving the home for long intervals, finding work on farms. When he's 14 years old, he's hit in the head with a metal fence post. Although the story is that he ran into it or it fell on him, we're not sure. It knocked him unconscious for about an hour. And some people who know James say that he was never himself again after this.
Yeah.
Although some people also say the fence post story is completely made up and that it was actually James's father who gave him the head trauma.
Oh, my God.
I know. So around that same time, James drops out of school and starts riding the rails to Oklahoma and Kansas doing farm work. He was a massive man, standing over 6'5". He had wavy red hair, and he also had a limp that made him very recognizable, and people called him Big Jim.
Just the idea of like, it's one thing to get a head injury, by chance.
Yeah.
Have your father give you a head injury that changes your life forever?
Totally.
Is like, we love to talk about trauma, but that's next level.
Devastating.
It's so horrible.
James meets his first wife in 1938, a woman named Walsey McKee. James is 17, and Walsey is 2 to 5 years older, according to different accounts.
Okay.
17. They get married. It doesn't last long. He blows in and out of town. She doesn't see him often. They have 2 children, but the first dies shortly after being born. The second is a healthy boy born in 1943, but James and Walsey divorce shortly after he's born. James is then drafted into the Army, but after 6 weeks of basic training, he's given a dishonorable discharge for, quote, indifference.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
Dead eyes. That's very Full Metal Jacket vibes.
Yeah. I think within 6 weeks, getting discharged for that means you were like...
They were like,
we can't.
Yeah. We missed this guy in the mental health evaluation. Something's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So that same year, James winds up in Little Rock, where he meets his second wife. Listen to this name. Fayreen Clemens. Fayreen.
Alabama, you say?
Arkansas. And
hey, Fayreen.
Hey, Fayreen.
Fayreen, come on over here.
Come here. Let me do your hair. Let me do your roots. She goes by Fay, and they meet in December of 1943. He's 22 years old. And by March of 1944, they're married. Fay is very different from Walsey, his first wife. When James gets the urge to travel, she wants to come with him. He doesn't want her to.
Because it's true love.
Right. By the summer of 1944, just a few months after their marriage, Fay confides in her family that she doesn't think she can stay married to James, and the family thinks that he's being abusive towards her. On Thursday, September 14th, James is back in Little Rock after another period on the road, and he takes Fay and a friend of hers dancing at a club called the Rainbow Garden.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They leave the club at about midnight, at which point the friend says he and Fay began fighting. As James, Fay, and the friend walk to the car, Fay tells James that she wants to leave him and move to California. He slaps her across the face and they all get in the car. And when they drop the friend off at her house, Fay and James are still fighting, and that is the last time anyone besides James sees Fay alive.
Oh, that friend.
I know.
So sad.
I know. When your friend is dating someone or married to someone that you know is fucking terrible.
And you're like, she's about to get beaten up and I'm getting out of the car. What do I do?
What would you do?
go get a guy that's 6'6".
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with like someone big and abusive. Those kinds of bullies are hard to fight if you don't have anybody around to fight them.
Yeah, they don't listen to reason.
Or women.
Reason, meaning women. 3 days later, some of Fay's cousins come by to see her. James tells them that she left him 3 days before. The cousins tell Fay's parents about this, and they come to look for her. Of course, Fay's clothes are all in the closet. It doesn't look like she's gone anywhere, but they give it some time, hoping that maybe Fay she said she wanted to go to California. Her friend heard that. Maybe she just fucking booked it, and they're about to hear from her. But when a week goes by, they go to the Little Rock police. James tells the police that he last saw his wife on the night they came back from the Rainbow Garden, and that she left for California. So shortly after that, James moves out of the apartment he and Fay had shared and goes out on the road again. We don't know James's exact route between September and December of 1944. We do know of several murders of middle-aged men in this time period in Kansas and Oklahoma that some people will later tie to James, similar MOs. In the next few months, James stays closer to Little Rock and commits the 4 murders from the beginning of our story that will eventually lead to his arrest. And that brings us to where we started in the story and him saying, I guess I killed them all.
Yeah.
When he finally confesses to those murders, he tells police that the first murder was only supposed to be a robbery. He says that he had intended on stealing the whiskey from Hamilton and that James ended up shooting him with that .45 caliber pistol and then using Hamilton's gun, which he stole from the car, to commit the rest of the murders. When the police ask James where Fay's body is, James says he took her to a remote road along a riverbank and beat her to death.
Oh, my God.
I know. James brings the police and several press photographers to the site, but they can't find anything. Then a woodcutter named Cecil Foster, who lives nearby, walks over. Cecil tells the police that he found part of a skull a few weeks back and that he thought it washed down the river and he took it home. He says he also saw what he thought was part of a jawbone on the riverbank. Cecil looks in the spot and it's like, see, it's still there. James himself, who's there to show them where her remains are, says, quote, "That's Fay, all right," and points out the characteristic front tooth in the jawbone. So sinister.
It's so gross. And also this idea that and maybe it wasn't him particularly, but that idea of like, I'm going to get the press to come too.
Right.
It just is all those ways that I think back then nobody knew. You're feeding right into the psychopath plan and the ego.
Like, let's let him control this.
Yeah. Oh, it's so awful.
James ultimately confesses to killing Fay and the 4 other men and to multiple other murders. When he was 17 in 1938, he killed a woman in Kansas. He kills a man in San Marcos, Texas in 1944. And then he admits to killing 10 migrant workers from 1938 to 1944 in Arizona. And then he'd offer up some clues and decline to talk about them. So he also says he killed a Bible salesman in Texas. Because of his itinerant lifestyle, he's suspected of several more murders. There are at least 3 similar murders in cities where he was likely to have been, but there isn't enough evidence to charge him still.
This is so Aristotle.
Yes.
But
real.
But then also, can they prove it's real?
It sounds like he's not making this shit up.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
like it all fits the MO. Aristotle's shit was all like, right? All
anywhere they brought him, he was like, yes, here.
Right.
But God, it's just so...
I know.
It's so evil. It's so scary.
And he's 24.
Yeah. Hey, can you give me a ride?
I'm a friendly guy. Can you give me a ride? I have a limp.
Fun times. Oh, Bible salesman. I love Bibles. Ooh.
And 24, which imagines like what would, if he hadn't been caught right then, if that woman hadn't called and said, this gun that my friend had, I think it's the murder weapon. If she hadn't called in, what would he have like ramped up to when he was like 30 and 35? You know,
I mean, maybe he would have gotten the car and then been like, it'll be faster if I'm picking people up.
Right.
Like that. I mean, who knows?
I know. True crime. James is arraigned in the spring of 1945. He's charged with first-degree murder only for the killing of Fay, his wife, because this is thought to be the strongest case against him, and it's a possibility that he'll get the death penalty in this case. So they want to try this one first. James's trial begins on the same day Germany surrenders and World War II ends in Europe. And because of that, the case didn't get as much national attention. But still, there are murderinos back then. The courthouse is packed to the gills for the 2-day trial. 2 days, that's it.
Yeah.
On the first day of the trial, James takes back his confessions and instead pleads not guilty by reason of insanity. James's first wife, Walsey, testifies at the trial and brings their 2-year-old son. James's entire relationship with Fay, her murder, and at least 4 others, but likely many more, have all taken place within less than 2 years.
Oh my God.
That was all 2 years. James is found guilty and sentenced to death. He was executed a few days before his 25th birthday in the electric chair. On January 4th, 1946, Fay's father attends the execution and says, quote, "May God have mercy on your soul. I can't."
Yeah.
End quote. And that is the story of the hitchhike killer, James Waybern Hall.
I literally have never heard anything about this.
I know. Thank you to Abby for sending this in. She says that he was her grandmother's older brother. I know.
Wow. Oh, yeah, because there's 10 kids, or by the time 9 kids with him. Wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Should we do a quick hooray?
A tour hooray?
A tour hooray.
Okay. I mean, the experience of this tour has been so incredible. And the murderinos have just shown up in every way possible, every way we've asked them to.
Yeah.
So my hooray, I think, would just be all of our listeners, all the people that have like actually gone to the shows, told their stories. We've had some incredible hometowns, just incredible like participation.
Yeah.
It's been so cool to like be able to be out there with people. And
how about when you kicked that stuffed animal and back into the audience, though?
You guys, we had a gift of a very large, very scary sized stuffed animal thrown at us onto the stage from the dark. And it scared everybody, but especially me and Georgia. So I then kicked it back out into the audience, and the audience went insane. That was a pretty good one.
That was good.
I think there's also the very first night of Denver, night 1, night show 1.
Yeah.
I don't think I expected the volume and the reception.
No.
Getting a reception like that was such a lovely gift from that Denver audience.
Totally. Nothing, like I had completely forgot that like what that felt like, what it sounded like, how incredible and overwhelming it was. And I'm going to miss that after New York.
It's very magical to be able to get something like that from a room full of people.
Yeah. It's life affirming. You forget that like people are listening when you're recording in a studio, and then to walk out there and be like, there you are.
These are all the people that are not emailing in complaints in some way, shape, or form. They like it.
They like it. They want you to have stuffed animals.
And we say no.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who's come. Thank you for all the incredible gifts you've given us. I think we're going to go through them in a video for the fan cult soon.
Oh, yeah. We're going to unbox our boxes of gifts that we basically get to go through like raccoons real fast and then have to box up and ship home.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. That was a great story.
Thank
this is a great solo. Thank you for your patience as we are on wrapping this tour up, which has been an incredible amount of work for our team on the podcast team. So thank you to the MFM production team led by C. Molly Smith, the great producer, and
you've made
everybody
it
else.
possible for us to like leave and not worry about what's going up. She was on it.
And our supervising producer, Jess Keck, who worked with Molly. Thanks to everybody for making all of these things that we're able to do simultaneously. It's only because we have this incredible staff.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Well, stay sexy.
And don't get murdered. Goodbye.